Hey guys, welcome back. Our midnight movie this week is the sequel to 2022's SISU, which was a beautiful aesthetic genre actioner from Finland. And yeah, we're doing the sequel, SISU Road to Revenge, which just came out this year. And we have the return of our badass Finnish commando, Aatami Korpi, played by I believe it's Jorma Tomela. I'm trying to learn these Finnish names, and directed by Jalmari Helander. This was an excellent follow up to the first film. As I understand it, it's actually going to be a trilogy, and everything that we loved about the first movie, this movie nails, and it adds extra stuff, making it not just a retread of the first movie. We get a bit more backstory of Corpy's, uh, what made him what he is. We meet him in the first film, and he's sort of, walked away from the war, has become a gold miner, panning for gold until the Nazis mess with him, and then it's, fuck around and find out for an hour and a half at least. A lot of fun. In Sisu Road to Revenge, we get more of the backstory of Corpy's life before the first film. Like what set the table for that first film. We get a really awesome antagonist, the man who was essentially responsible for Corpy becoming the Koshai, the immortal, the legend that he is, played beautifully by Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang, by the way, I just looked up. Dude is 73 and is absolutely crushing it. Jorma Tomala is 66. I just think it's really cool that we're getting these incredibly well produced, well executed, beautifully done action films with dudes in their 60s and 70s. It's really inspiring for those of us that aren't in our 20s anymore. That there's a lot left of life to be lived, and your limits are whatever you want them to be. These guys absolutely light up the screen. In addition to all of the cool kills and incredible action that we got in the first film, what I really appreciated about the sequel is how much more vulnerability we actually get from Corpy, from our main protagonist. He is a tough motherfucker. We know that from the first movie, but his toughness is grounded in a realism. Obviously, there are things that happen in this movie, like the first movie, that are a little over the top, maybe a little far fetched. Um, Still fun, but I feel it's anchored by these incredible performances by these actors that, this is not Arnold Schwarzenegger. This isn't The Rock. This is a guy who gets cut, who can be shot, who can be stabbed, who bleeds, who experiences real pain. Uh, the same thing with the villains. While they are fun and they're great foils to our protagonist rather, they also have, and it all boils down to performance. There's not a ton of dialogue for either of these guys, either for Tomila or for Stephen Lang, and man, they just chew up the screen. It's what's beautiful about this film, like the first one, is, if you know what to look for, incredible acting chops. It's one of those things where I feel like so much of celebrity and movie stars today, really, it's boiling down to, it feels like so many of these young people that are coming up, while they may be talented, everybody kind of looks like an Instagram filter. Everyone kind of looks the same. And so far, the Sisu franchise, much like the John Wick franchise, these other um, franchises that are out there, we're actually getting character looking actors. We're getting men and women that don't look like they sleep on a dermabrasion wheel. They look like people who have their original nose, have their original forehead. Uh, there's character and grit to the face, which translates to these beautiful performances by, again, these veteran actors, these guys and gals that have lived a bit. And it just makes it so much richer. We've all watched action movies where it's okay, we know that this, our protagonist is going to beat up all the bad guys, doesn't really take a whole lot of damage, somehow maybe gets knocked off a train or a bus or a car and just gets up and he's good. That's not what happens in these great actioners like Sisu, like John Wick, where you see real heart, you see real humanity, you see a grounded, generative masculinity in these characters. And I feel like that is sorely missing from so much media today. It's really heartening to see in these two Sisu films, especially the second one, where it's a beautiful balance of a man who has gone through a lot of loss, a man who just has been through the ringer, but doesn't give up. He gets the justice, the revenge that, frankly, he's entitled to, but it's never it's never provocative. It's never salacious. It's never for the sake of everything that this guy does. You're right behind him, and it's not a bloodlust on behalf of us, the viewers. It's, you know what, this guy was just minding his own business, like so many people were, whether it be World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, where you name the war. The people that are drawn into these conflicts that were just living their lives, raising families, they were farming, they were blacksmithing, whatever it is that they were doing, and same today, and they get pulled into these conflicts through no fault of their own, and are subject to just some of the most horrific action and violence. And so, yeah, it's really, again, very visceral but justified justice and, frankly, revenge that these characters are getting. And Sisu, again, it's just so much of what this guy does. He can just say so much with a look. It's evocative for me of so many of the great Clint Eastwood films of yesteryear, be it Unforgiven, the spaghetti westerns of Sergio Leone, any of the Dirty Harry films. Now, you could throw Bullet in there, the Steve McQueen performances where he just doesn't say much, but by not saying much, he says volumes. And both Jorma Tommila and Stephen Lang they just do it with it's really good. I love this movie so much. It was great to see it on the big screen. I did not get a chance to see the first Sisu on the big screen. I caught it on Tubi, which, as of this recording, you can still watch Sisu 2022 on Tubi. If you haven't seen it, get on it and then go to the theater. I'm not sure if it's just where I'm at, but it was difficult for me to find Sisu Road to Revenge outside of like either a 10 o'clock showing, and I'm an early riser, I get up at 4 a.m. for work, or like in theaters just cities and cities away at like 11 a.m. or 2:30. I had the day off and I went and caught a morning viewing of it. And I was surprised, there were at least like 10 to 20 people in my theater, which was heartening. It's just a film that's this good, that is this well made, that is so beautifully executed. For it to have such limited release, again, I understand it's technically a foreign film, it's technically a more genre, maybe niche film, but it's so good. And I hope the fact that it is, as of this recording, 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, maybe they extend the run a bit. I'm so tired of all of these movies that I've been wanting to see getting maybe 2 months in the theater, and then they're immediately dumped on streaming. There is a real value, I think, in watching films in a movie theater with other human beings, and that communal experience, that experiencing with other human beings, a great piece of art, a piece of film in this case. I think this is partly why music concerts and stand-up comedy have exploded, because people want to see real people, real performances. They want to enjoy it with others that enjoy what they enjoy. I wish this would translate more to film and to these great movies that are coming out. I didn't get a chance to see The Long Walk in the theater. I'd see if I can maybe try to find it somewhere. But these other smaller films that, frankly, I think are better done, that deserve to be seen in a theater, that deserve to be seen with audiences. So if you can do it, get out there and support these smaller genre films, maybe these cult films they could be called. Because the more we get out there and the more we take the time to go with friends, go with family, and say, you've got to see this, this is amazing. Um, I hope that we can save movie theaters. I don't know what the future of things are. I don't think, I'm not against streaming. I'm not one of those guys. I think, if it's great, I can show friends and family, films that are niche and our genre, much like Sisu and Sisu, Road to Revenge, because of Shudder, because of Tubi, because of Criterion Channel, because of Arrow Video, all of these great smaller niche streamers, I can show stuff that friends and family would never see otherwise because they're not cinema nerds like you and I are. Uh, that said, I do think to the extent you can, get out and see these movies. Get out and see them with friends. Encourage friends to go and see these things. I don't want us to lose that communal experience of these incredibly fun, great films. Uh, it's not to preach here, but we see the loneliness epidemic that's going on. And, the more and more we make things just super accessible just to get at home, this is again a byproduct of pandemic and all that. But you need to get out. You need to be with people. You need to see people. You need to press the flesh. You need to hear other people shout and laugh and see people smile. And that's what I got to see when I went and saw Sisu Road to Revenge. People were clapping in the theater when we saw Korpi, get one over on these assholes in the movie that he absolutely deserved to get one over on. That's really fun. Also, one of the most important things about this movie, there's no gray area. Aatami Korpi, this badass commando, absolutely deserves to win. What was done to him was completely unjust. He deserves his revenge, and he gets it. The good guy is good and completely just, and the bad guys are villainous pieces of shit that get theirs. I love that. That's one thing I loved about, say, the Indiana Jones movies. Basically everything we were sort of doing in cinema up until maybe 10 to 15 years ago. Not to say that I don't like an anti-hero. I love an anti-hero, but it doesn't have to be everything. Not everything has to be morally ambiguous. Not everything has to be shades of gray. There is a right and there is a wrong, and I love to see that realized on the screen. I love to see heroes get what they deserve, and I love seeing villains get what they deserve. So don't waste any time. Get on Tubi, watch Sisu, and then check Fandango and find showtimes and go see Sisu Road to Revenge. It's a good time, and movies should be fun. So go have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.